absolutely insane.
US government wants to get to 1 million Bitcoin, or Qatar, or UAE, or I don't know, UK, okay? And they say, I'm going to buy 1 million Bitcoin in the open market.
So yeah, Bitcoin has been rising, but the thing is XRP is next on the line. And billionaires are literally talking about it and predicting about it.
The UK buying 1 million Bitcoin, or the US buying, or China, Bitcoin's going to $1 million, right? Whereas,
so imagine if Bitcoin goes to $1 million, XRP is definitely going to 10 or 15 or 20 just by Bitcoin rising.
Someone says, I can buy like the US government might say, MicroStrategy has 600,000 of this already.
Yeah.
I'll pay 200% premium, and it was cheaper than paying $1 million per Bitcoin. So that's called a sovereign put.
Right.
Well, guess what? In the Ethereum world, because it's a staked token, if one of these treasury asset companies gets to 5% of ETH, they are hugely important to the ETH ecosystem.
100%. Yeah.
So then their multiple should go up. Because, Goldman Sachs, for instance, if they do a Goldman dollar and it runs on Ethereum, they want to make sure the Ethereum network is secured. So eventually they're going to be buying a lot of Ethereum.
Right.
In order to show what really influences asset prices over time, fundamental resilience and structural behavior, Tom Lee breaks through the cacophony of daily market panic. Lee directly challenges the prevailing narrative of fear in his most recent statement. While many analysts focus just on headlines, he looks deeper and finds a pattern that is sometimes overlooked. A crisis rarely begins when markets fall without a corresponding increase in credit stress. Rather, it typically serves as the precursor to a robust recovery.
So yeah, literally when billionaires are talking about crypto and they're entering, it definitely makes you think the sky's the limit, right? Because this used to be just for new traders, and crypto used to be like just 10 years ago, something that you could kind of own for fun. Now it's becoming like the future of finance. It's being talked about bank partnerships. All of that really does add up to credibility it has.
Reserves.
Right.
Like it wasn't sloshing around.
Correct.
So the more important money is actually retail. And that's there's 4 cohorts.
That's what I've been saying. XRP retail is where the money really starts to hit.
It's 5 real distinct cohorts in the market today. So we know there's institutional.
Right.
There's non-US.
Yep.
Right. And everyone's like, oh, we're leaving the US. There is high net worth.
Family offices.
Yeah, exactly. They stay bearish because they follow what hedge funds do.
Right.
Then there's corporates who do buybacks.
Correct.
And then there's retail. Retail was the only one buying the market at the April lows.
40 billion in March and April.
Yeah. I'm very proud of the retail.
So yeah, retail is not even back to XRP yet. I feel like only a portion is. They downloaded their apps after XRP went live. This could be basically billions and billions of dollars from ETFs. So right now, most of the buyers are potentially small crypto whales and some retail, and mostly OG users. So people who have been in crypto for maybe 2 years, 1 year, and know what they're doing. But the people who just came back 6 months or before, we're still going to be waiting for them. And I feel like that we are waiting like for US announcements, banks starting to promote crypto, the services, stuff like that is what's really going to make a big difference.
Investor. I think it's because retail investors see this as a stock market. They're like, I like Palantir, I own Meta. Like, should Meta get killed because of tariffs? You know what I mean? Like, should Palantir get down to 80? Like, if you think about it, like, a retail investor sees it as stocks.
Right.
But the higher up you go, they're more macro. They're like, oh, Trump's going to just drive us off a cliff. The Fed's going to kill us. And so these actually create biases.
Right.
And then when the actual economy doesn't, or the stock market doesn't react to what their framework is, then they're like, oh, the market's insane. This is the dumbest rally.
Correct.
Only retail's buying. And so then they're caught off sides because they're now sitting on cash, institutions, on a complete full V-shaped recovery. And
that's what I've been telling you guys and what he's trying to tell us. Literally, all of the retail bought XRP at 20 cents, 50 cents. And guess who bought it at $3? Those who had a lot of money. So it definitely makes sense when you think about it. 50 cents, it went for a huge rally, but crypto still wasn't popular, still wasn't mainstream, right? People bought it who had, just who were in crypto before 2022, 2023 crashes. Now we see retail and every single institution coming back to buy Bitcoin and Ethereum. Could XRP be next? That is the question.
That's why it's the most hated V-shaped recovery. So, but if you look at the bond market, it flips. The bond market historically votes Republican.
Correct.
So most people think Trump is a madman, right? Because they didn't vote for him.
Are
So-
you saying TDS is one of the reasons why people did not buy the dip?
Yeah, we write about it a lot in our research, actually. So it's a partisan stock market. And actually, people, so these have been uncomfortable conversations that we've had all year
I would
because,
imagine.
yeah, because they're like, Tom, we can't, you're telling us not to sell. Because our advice was, you like, don't sell. Like, even though I didn't know where the bottom was, I did know it would be V-shaped.
Right.
But they're like, Tom, we can't do that, And then I was like, well, I showed the stat. Whenever the VIX is above 60 and then it closes below 30, 100% of the time it's been the bottom.
Correct.
And they're like, well, it's different because the Fed's not going to save you. So everyone found a reason to actually argue for why a recession was starting. And as you know, economists went full on recession call.
That's correct.
So if you're a equity guy, how can you go stocks are going to do V-shaped when the economist of the firm just said there's a recession? So I
Right.
think they got caught, and we're not having happy conversations with people.
That's the thing with pumps. Nobody expects them until they arrive too late. So XRP literally rallied in 1 to 3 months when nobody was expecting it.
Well, it's fact based because we had a drawdown of more than 20%, and then we made a new high. So like the weird math that like let's say a commodity trading advisor, a CTA,
right?
has is that when you have a drawdown and then you make
I feel like that's what keeps also institutions away because they don't understand crypto yet. It's a very new thing for everyone, and those who are really early, those get rewarded best. It's like very much more risky than stock market. It's way more early than a stock market. XRP has been just over a lawsuit, and people who are fast enough caught the early wave. That's just my opinion, though. I could be totally wrong in that.
new high, that date is the start of a bull market. So actually, like in the mind of the institution now, breaking 61.41 was a new bull market.
Wow.
But the retail investor bought it at 4,800 to 61.41. But the algos are going to say a new bull market started like last week.
Now, we're concentrating on cryptocurrency. Tom Lee examines Ethereum in detail, looking beyond its price. According to him, Ethereum is in a unique position at the intersection of two strong forces: the effort by the cryptocurrency community to move real-world assets like equities onto the blockchain, and Wall Street's increasing interest in transforming cryptocurrencies into conventional financial instruments. Stablecoins are at the heart of this interaction. Lee claims that stablecoins are the ChatGPT of cryptocurrency since they have transcended excitement and found practical use. Consider Circle. It is currently regarded as a major participant on Wall Street and has grown its stablecoin business to $70 billion. However, it is more profound. Stablecoins currently rank 11th in the world and are among the biggest holders of U.S. Treasuries. Since roughly 80% of stablecoin transactions take place outside of the United States, this is not only a financial move, it also has geopolitical ramifications, significantly expanding the U.S. dollar's dominance globally. To remain up to date on the most recent developments in Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies, and the digital economy, please take a moment to like this video.
Yeah, so he's talking about stablecoins being, very risky and stuff like that. People forgot that it's not all about stablecoins. Now, the US government is focusing only on stablecoins, but there's way more than just that. And XRP is trying to reach that one factor that nobody else is doing: bank transfers, fast chain transfers that they have been working 13 years for. It's not just stablecoins, it's not just Bitcoin. Crypto is a much bigger thing than anyone expected.
Subscribe to the channel and enable post notifications.
Well, Ethereum, I'm sure the audience kind of knows Ethereum, but I like Ethereum because it's a programmable smart contract blockchain.
Right.
Okay. But that's a mouthful.
Yeah.
I would say the real reason I kind of would say I backed into Ethereum is that stable coins are really taking off.
Circle,
Yep.
$70 billion company.
Circle's like
That's why Ripple also has its own stablecoin, Ripple Ledger.
the best IPO in 5 years.
Correct.
Ripple USD.
And it trades at 100 times EBITDA. And it has made the performance. For some funds, it has made their year.
Wow.
Like, it's what put people in the top 1%. So proof in the traditional Wall Street world, Circle is like God level stock.
Right.
And it's a stable coin. Stable coins are the ChatGPT of crypto because it's really crossed over into the mainstream. But it's really evidence that Wall Street is trying to equitize tokens,
Correct.
but then the crypto world is tokenizing equities because they tokenized $1, right? And then
They're trying to enter the crypto markets now. Like the big institutions that are trying to enter the crypto markets through either institutions. BlackRock is already working in some way with Ripple, even if indirectly. And this is just the start of what they're doing. They're like first testing stuff until they finally make a big push to make all those companies. And I'm really excited for that part because that is going to be happening next year potentially.
now you're seeing, oh, JP Morgan wants their own stablecoin, Amazon, Walmart, Goldman. Well, stablecoins are a great business model and they work really well for consumers and merchants, but they all have to operate on a blockchain.
Correct.
And the majority of stablecoin transactions take place on Ethereum.
Mm.
So Ethereum's been like kind of out of favor. You know, it peaked at close to 5,000 several years ago, and
same
it
as
was
XRP.
stuck at like 1,400, 1,500. It's back to like 2,400.
What's going?
But stablecoins are only 250 billion today.
Correct.
It's 30% of the gas fees on Ethereum, and Ethereum mints more than 50% of all stablecoin creations. Treasury Secretary Scott,
He loves them.
Yep, and he says he thinks it's a $2 trillion market, which is 10x increase. The U.S. government wants more stablecoins.
Like you guys don't realize how much crypto markets are undertapped because right now we're still at XRP 200 billion. Even if it goes to Bitcoin's market cap of 1 trillion, that is already $15. We are so early in crypto, in my opinion.
Because stablecoins collectively are the 12th largest holder of treasuries.
Correct.
And they're creating a lot of dollarization. 80% of stablecoin usage is outside the U.S.
Right.
So, but a 10 times increase in stablecoin creations is an exponential growth in gas fees for Ethereum. So I think Ethereum is a very direct beneficiary of Wall Street trying to equitize crypto.
Correct.
And crypto tokenizing equity. It literally sits in the middle. And so I think that's why Ethereum, I think, is going to be rediscovered this year. And then, of course, we're seeing it now because Robinhood is, because I think, crypto is a narrative-driven space, okay? Because it really runs on trust.
Right.
And so we know Bitcoin, the thesis is trust and, digital gold. But I think the story now is programmable money.
Mm.
And so maybe what you're seeing is people are discovering that you not only want programmable money, but you want to be running on the biggest network that does programmable money. And Ethereum is 300 billion. So it is the largest smart contract blockchain. So
Right.
I think that's why Ethereum has the opportunity to really transform. Yeah. Well, I won't necessarily speak to BMNR specifically, but I can speak to why treasury companies, which is what BMNR is.
Treasury companies coming to XRP as well. We just had a $20 million buy, which is a very small amount compared to crypto, but it's a nice start to actually see XRP go to top.
Makes sense. Because someone's going to say, oh, well, if I want to bet on Ethereum, why don't I just buy the ETF?
Right.
Or why don't I just buy it on chain and
Custody or something.
custody?
Right?
Yeah. But see, a treasury company has 5 real important pieces of optionality. Okay. So if you buy an ETF or if you buy Ethereum on chain, your units held of Ethereum is going to be constant, right? I mean, if you buy an ETF, you have a contractual amount of Ethereum you
Correct.
have. And it maybe shrinks because they charge you fees. But these treasury companies, their goal is to grow the token held per share.
Right.
MicroStrategy, that's their benchmark, key performance metrics.
So yeah, these treasury companies are secretly buying. In my opinion, they're secretly buying. They already were secretly buying Bitcoin. They bought it during the dip. They bought Ethereum. And I feel like some of them, the smaller ones, only a few are making public, but most of them are buying XRP as well.
So one, if it trades at a premium to NAV, net asset value, they can issue stock and create more net asset value per share.
Right.
That's actually what they call reflexive growth. I don't think there's very few things in the equity world that are reflexive that way. Number 2, because the underlying token is quite volatile. In fact, Ethereum has twice the delivered volatility.
Like Ethereum is awesome, but XRP has way less use for the ledger right now than Ethereum. Ethereum is used for all the trading, all the contracts. If we can even get like a 10th, maybe a 5th of Ethereum's volume right now, that would be amazing. But the issue is that the ledger right now is really small, in my opinion, because it's just doing test transactions. Ripple has said that most of the transactions they have on there are just basically for, testing if it will work with banks, which is good for any buyers because it means it has more potential. But again, we haven't reached even the peak of transfers or use cases, and that's the problem I see with XRP right now. There's not much use cases for the ledger itself. Like, why use the ledger? Why not just use it on Ethereum? And that's what a lot of people, are afraid of how XRP is going to do that. Are they going to make XRP burns? Or how Ripple will do that? So Ripple does have some plans for the ledger, including XRP, they announced.
Affiliate Bitcoin.
Correct.
If you held Ethereum an ETF, and you said, I want to leverage it and buy more Ethereum ETFs by borrowing money, the bank's going to charge you 10%. But if you're a treasury asset company, one, you're a corporation, so your cost of money is cheaper. But two, you can sell the volatility
Yes.
in the form of convertible
Yep.
or derivative, and then your cost of capital in MicroStrategy's case is zero.
Right.
So you got two levers to pull. So an example is MicroStrategy has 600,000 Bitcoin.
Yep.
If the U.S. government wants to get to 1 million Bitcoin, or Qatar, or UAE, or I don't know, UK, okay, and they say, I'm going to buy 1 million Bitcoin in the open market, the UK buying 1 million Bitcoin, or the U.S. buying, or China, Bitcoin's going $1 million, right? Whereas someone says, I can buy like the U.S. government might say, MicroStrategy has 600,000 of this already.
Yeah.
I'll pay 200% premium, and it was cheaper than paying $1 million per Bitcoin. So that's
Right.
called a sovereign put.
Right.
It takes $10 to move $5 on ETH. That's why I feel like a lot of people will move their projects as well to Ledger. But Ethereum mostly has different use cases than XRP. So XRP is going to be mostly for banking and transfers, and Ethereum has way more potential with what I'm getting is like contracts. You can write way more than, for example, Ripple. Ripple is like more mainstream. It's not designed to run like crypto projects. It's more like designed to go from point A to point B. And that's good enough. It focuses on one simple thing, being cheap and fast. Now, Ethereum cannot do that. And it's not cheap. It's kind of getting faster. But that's where Ripple really wins, right? And that's why all the banks choose Ripple.
Based, narrative-driven industry. As digital gold, a safe haven of value in the digital era, Bitcoin gained that trust. However, the crypto narrative is
XRP price
Ripple's
prediction, this could cause a squeeze.